son. It's gumbo. I don't know if anybody knows what gumbo is.
Peace and blessings, and you're in the studio with Queen of Queen's Business Ventures. I would like for it to be known. I would like to make sure that you don't have to go through life saying that no one ever real talked to you. I have believed lies before in my life. So I understand what it is and how it feels to believe a lie. And then understand it, that that's exactly what it was, a lie. Now, for the people that have already decided off the top that you don't like me, you don't like my hair, you don't like the way I look, you don't like the way I talk, you don't like my attitude, you don't like anything about me, this conversation is for you. The short of it is not your responsibility or duty to love me or hate me. I'm going to say that again. It is not your duty or responsibility to like me or to not like me. It's neither your job nor your responsibility. I'm here to do self. And me doing self has nothing to do with you, as long as you're doing yourself. The problem comes in when you decide that yourself has a little bit more responsibility than you're responsible for. When you come over here getting a stepping on my toes, you did? It's not your responsibility to like me or not. It's really not. And I still love you, whether you like me or not. It's really not your business to like me or not. It's really not. I'm not a child of you. Itself consumes, rounded out, about 50% of the global market on everything. So, Europe, give or take, about another 20%. Know what I mean? So I give Europe because the United States was conquered by Europe. So the United States is a European country. Understand? We have a red, white, and blue flag. Same way Europe has a red, white, and blue flag. We, in this hemisphere, this little area over here in the United States, was not an English-speaking country. It is now an English-speaking country. The original languages of this land, of this hemisphere, are not even recognized. There were schools built to erase the language. So, I understand that the ones that are left are the weak ones, because you killed all the strong ones. All the strong ones are dead. Because the strong ones say, yo, you're not going to come over here and just take our stuff. You just gonna come over here and take our stuff? You know why the Native Americans lost that war? Because they didn't have another country or an ally in another land to go get more products and more people and more ammunition and more guns and more money and more. So Europe, coming from another landmass, had an endless, infinite supply of weaponry and fresh infantry. So the fight wasn't even fair. The fights still aren't fair. So the young Native children, they're embarrassed, humiliated. They're committing suicide at the #1 rate. And I believe they're in a hurry to get back. I don't think they're committing suicide just because. I think they're in a hurry to get back. So all you people that refuse to believe that the rightful owners of this land don't deserve their justice, I don't care how you want to slice this. This is indigenous land. Do I need to repeat that one more time? The land that you're walking on right now, that's never been paid for, that has blood from slaughtered villages all over it, civilized by the religious hierarchy. And that's the same way your education system is set up. There's a hierarchy, and there's things you have to do in order to attain it. And once you attain it, you understand that you could be violated by those who have set the standard for you.
Well, gumbo isn't a place where you can grow things. If you walk in that mud when it gets rainy, you're going to be standing about 3 inches taller because you're not going to be able to get that mud off your shoes. And then the white man thought we could have agriculture out there. He didn't care. He put us there just for our land, to take our land away from us. Never compensated us for nothing. For nothing. For nothing. For nothing.
An emergency call took Sergeant Judo and myself to the Rue Morgue section of Paris. The neighbors were complaining about a mad scientist. Seems these experiments were creating interference on their television sets.
I'm not crazy. They are crazy. I don't sit around watching TV.
The sergeant and I began a thorough investigation of this old house. Often in these mad scientist cases, there is a monster somewhere on the premises.
And what does these monsters look like?
Well, mostly they're sort of horrible, like this.
Free, I want to go home.
Sergeant, what kind of stuff are you made of?
Oh, enchiladas, chili beans, tacos, stuff like that. Nothing fancy.
Personally, I cannot see how you can stomach that awful food.
If my stomach, she doesn't like it, she can lump it.
And this is what I mean by insanity. This country belongs to indigenous people and the children of those indigenous people. Whether my community wants to accept me or not, I am a representative of that heritage. This land is mine. Straight up. I know that this is mine. It does not belong to you. You can't have it. But what? You don't play fair. And that's where my people suffer. Because they want to play fair, they keep getting got. Now you say, oh, but look in the far corners of this and far corners of that, and look how savage they're living.
The city of Winona was founded basically by thieves. The city of Winona marked its 150th anniversary in 2001 and very proudly proclaimed and remembered how the city was first mapped out in November of 1851, which granted is after the treaties were signed, but still a year and a half before they were ratified. So in fact, they were not yet American land, they were still Dakota land. And these treaties are really, of course, the foundation of the relationship, theoretically, between the U.S. and the indigenous nations of the Americas, and of course we know how much these treaties have been broken. I thought I knew a fair amount until I learned more. I learned, among other things, that part of the provisions of these treaties was for money to go into education of the Dakota people. I don't know that any money has been spent as part of that treaty on education for the Dakota people. I also learned that those treaties were revoked, nullified, written away by the U.S. Congress following the U.S.-Dakota War, when people of Minnesota were so keen on their revenge against the Dakota that they wanted to rid southern Minnesota of all Indians, not only Dakota, but Ho-Chunk or Winnebago Indians.
And you would prefer not to know. You really would. But it's true. How this all ties in is the continual acceptance of lies and deception, and you feel okay. As long as Massa cool and he ain't hitting me over my head right now, everything's gonna be okay. But I beg to differ. Your master's not gonna stop until you're eaten alive. And let this country be a model for how Europe is going to continue like locusts to consume and consume every viable, living, tangible resource on this planet. There's testimonials. There are authors that have written the miseducation of all people in existence.
You think there's anybody in the government that really cares about you from their government point of view? Oh, an individual, you know, might be a secretary or somebody answering the phone. They care about themselves, advancing their career, making money, enhancing. Well, they'll do that, but that's not what we need. You know, high tide raises all ships, and we need a good economy with a good money system, and we need good people running the affairs of state. Their life, they don't care about you. If they can get your vote and promise you something.
The miseducation, The only time it was necessary to say I was the first anything, when the arrogance rose to a level where someone felt they needed to say they were the first. We've lived for trillions of years trillions of years. How are you the first to do anything? That is the most arrogant, ludicrous assumption that I could ever imagine. That's just ludicrous. To say that I'm the first anything is just arrogant baloney. And you want me to live with you side by side in your brain.